And it's your boy, the solo traveler. I'm actually presenting you guys about my trip when I went to Paris. What can I say? Paris. Boy, this city is very cultured. You know, I could definitely say that this is a city of love. There is so much to see here. I was just blown away by the culture that I actually saw while I was here in Paris. So I could definitely say that this is a must-visit place. You know, I could definitely tell you, you will be blown away by the culture. I just can't stop talking about the culture here. When I went, it was roughly about a year ago. Hopefully, I plan on going back again, and I want to go back and take a couple videos and more pictures or so. The reason being is that I want to take some nice videos just to show you guys how nice it is, because I have a lot of pictures, a lot of still shots, but nothing like, you know, presenting, showing you guys videos. But just wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown of basically what happened with me going out to Paris. Basically how long the flight is and things like that. When I flown out there, it took me roughly about 8 to 9 hours. I'm coming out of Chicago, and I actually laid over in New York. And the layover was roughly about an hour or two, if I can remember. And it wasn't long. I was planning on going out there a lot sooner, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually visit the Statue of Liberty. And, you know, I wanted to, because I knew that there was the small Statue of Liberty in Paris. So I wanted to take a shot with the Statue of Liberty in New York, and then go down to Paris and take my picture with the Statue of Liberty there, and hopefully, you know, just have those two shots. But unfortunately, that didn't happen due to, I found out that the waiting list to go to the Statue of Liberty was like, you know, months in advance. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So unfortunately, that didn't happen. But just to go back to the whole situation of the 8-hour flight, the 8-hour flight wasn't too bad. This was like my first time going to Europe. And this was my first time ever flying to Europe and seeing the sun never setting. Never going down. That was something very interesting. And I definitely could tell you, like, I'm looking out the window and all I keep seeing is the sun in the distance on my entire way to Paris. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. You know, so I hope to see the same thing my next flight going out to Europe, because I want to go to Rome. I might go to Rome hopefully in the next maybe 4 weeks or so, 4 or maybe 6 weeks. So if I do, I'm gonna have a lot of videos for you guys to share with you guys. So it won't be as how it is, you know, how this video actually turned out. And I actually purchased a drone, so hopefully the drone might be able to give you guys some good aerial shots of everything. So, but you know, just to say, compare my last flight to Lima, which was roughly about 8 hours. Man, I could tell you the flight to Europe wasn't too bad compared coming back from Lima because of the plane that I actually took. So it was like a 700 series plane coming back from Lima. It wasn't like those big, you know, 2-aisle planes. So that kind of sucked coming back. That was like the longest 8-9 hours I ever had in my life, because I actually had a middle seat. But here going to Paris, I actually had a aisle seat, so it wasn't too bad. But I was still able to look out the window because it had like those 2 aisles, and it was like just 2 seats next to each other by the window. So the person I was sitting next to, at least they allowed me to look out the window and things like that. One thing I also want to bring out, if you're going to Europe, definitely don't want to forget to get this converter, the power converter at all, because I didn't think about it until 2 hours to when the flight was going to end, and I was like, oh man, I need to get a converter, because I'm like, you know, being out there, of course you can't use the regular 110, so you know they use those funny 2-prong, I think was it 220 or something like that, but they use those 2-prong connectors. I ended up purchasing this actual converter at the airport, and you definitely don't want to do that, because I believe this cost me, I bought 2, and I believe it was like either $12 or $13 per converter, you know, and that's crazy. You know, so you definitely don't want to do that. Purchase these at the airport as soon as you land, because you're definitely going to be overpaying. And one thing I definitely want to say about the airport is that at least one thing that I liked about the airport in Paris, they had outlets everywhere. no matter where you went to. You're able to, if you're waiting for like a taxi, or if you're waiting for Uber, there's actually a station where you actually could plug in your phone and you're good to go. Another thing I want to say about landing in Paris was that if you have Sprint, coverage was pretty good. I was able to do everything I wanted to do as if like I was in the U.S. I had an international plan with Sprint at the time, and I didn't have any issues at all. I could definitely say that you would definitely you would not have any issues if you have Sprint or T-Mobile. I'm not sure how it is with Verizon, but I know at least with those two, you're definitely gonna have no problems communicating with people in another country. And of course, you want to use your WhatsApp app while you're in out of the United States. That's a must. People in these other countries, they don't really use just texting and other things like that. It's always WhatsApp. So one thing I wanted to say is that it is true. Taxi drivers and Uber drivers, they all drive Benzes, they all drive BMWs and things like that. That is like their normal car to get around, which is actually pretty interesting. My Uber driver picked me up in a BMW, and on the way going to the tourist area of Paris, you get to see like a whole bunch of like really cool buildings. If you're like into structures and infrastructure, things like that, architect, like you would definitely fall in love. Like for me, I love stuff like this, so I definitely had to snap a shot of this actual building, which I thought was kind of crazy. It's kind of interesting how the building was actually set up. But you're definitely gonna enjoy that whole experience going to I guess the downtown tourist area where the Eiffel Tower is at. Next picture, I just wanted to show you guys, just more, just crazy, buildings that they had. I thought that was actually pretty cool how this building was laid out. The blue building, in the upper left hand side of the screen, or center side of the screen. That's like a cylinder. I'm not sure what to even describe what type of building that is, but that is just cool. That next slide, the next picture that I want to show you guys, basically I stayed outside of the tourist area, and one thing I thought that was cool was that it was very clean and very safe here. Actually out here, basically outside of the tourist area, you can see basically I saw a lot of people jogging. People was walking out late at night. Like at one point, I believe the night before I left, it was roughly about 1 a.m. I'm looking at, there was like one woman walking by herself on the phone as if nothing was like ever happening. She was like walking near the park, and I thought that was just like wow. That's something you don't see in the States. You don't do, women don't do stuff like that. Basically late at night by themselves walking and oblivious to their surroundings, and she was just having a good time, didn't care what was going on. So for me, I felt safe in Paris. This was definitely a place that you could definitely feel great at. Of course, there's terrorists that goes on that has happened in the past couple of years, but it's like just being there and being in the environment, you're just like, wow, this place is great. What I mean? It's just, you feel safe every day. And one thing I definitely could say is it is very clean. And that's one thing I liked. Although you see in the picture a little bit of debris here and there, but like as you walk around the place, it doesn't look that bad at all. And one thing I also want to show is that look at the buildings, the detail of the buildings. It's just the culture of the building, how old it is. I love it. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. And then one thing about it is that you'll see flowers everywhere. Outside of people's balconies, there's flower shops everywhere. It's just like they just love flowers. I don't know if that brightens their day or something like that, but it's just something interesting to see as you're walking from up and down the blocks. And one thing also you want to notice that a lot of people ride their bikes. You see a lot of small cars that get around because the streets are pretty old, so they're pretty narrow. So you don't have, so basically people use those small cars, smart cars. I saw a lot of smart cars there. People are very fit. Like I said before, people are jogging a lot. Bike riding. So you're gonna see a lot of fit people, which was actually pretty cool. I thought that was great for a nice city. And I just wanted to show off, just more pictures of a couple buildings that I saw, just to see how cool the infrastructure is within here. Man, one thing I gotta say, when I was there in Paris, I got a lot of workout in it. They have these bikes that you can rent for the day. It's kind of like here in Chicago, we have these divvy bikes. You get to ride around and go to wherever you want to go to. When I was here in Paris, I got my workout in with this bike. I rode everywhere. I didn't use Uber. I didn't use nothing. When I was actually, after I got to my hotel, this is all I used. It was very cheap. I think for the whole day, it was nothing more than, don't quote me, this was like a year ago. I think it was like $15 or $12. I think maybe $12. It probably was like $12 for the whole day. And I just kept running in it. I was just going everywhere. I rode around the whole city. There was not one place I didn't go. And let's say I probably lost a lot of pounds after this trip, after riding around. And of course, while you're in Paris, you gotta take a picture of the Eiffel Tower, with yourself in the picture. What's the whole point of going to Paris if you don't have a picture of yourself with the Eiffel Tower? You got to take a selfie. So I ended up taking myself, a couple of selfies, and this was the best one out of all my selfies. And, it's the Eiffel Tower. And one thing I can say about the Eiffel Tower is that it was actually bigger than what I thought. A lot taller. Sorry, it was a lot taller and bigger, and I was just like surprised. I was expecting it to be something small, but hey, it was bigger than what I expected. But on this day, it was actually a pretty hot day while I was there in Paris. So I'm surprised you don't see me sweating or anything like that. I went like sometime in the summertime, like in July, and it was nice there. Definitely was. So here is the picture of the small Statue of Liberty. Like I said before, I wanted to try to get a layover in New York to take a picture of the big size Statue of Liberty, but I ended up just taking the picture of the smaller size Statue of Liberty that was actually in Paris. So at least I had a chance to say that, hey, I actually visited the Statue of Liberty here, and of course, anytime I know I could go to New York and hopefully go to that Statue of Liberty and enjoy myself. Go to the top of the Statue of Liberty and look out and get some nice shots and all that good stuff as well. One thing I want to add, all over the city, you'll see a whole bunch of just, things like this, like just detailed sculptures. It seems just very rich with culture and I just thought that these were actually cool. So I took a picture of this one because just look at the detail of it. Like it's just awesome. So you just can't get away from all the culture that's actually here. And one thing I wanted to add is that here's another building with detailed sculpture or something over the door, and even the door is very like detailed to the point. But you can have like something like this, like a very extremely old building, but then next to it you'll see like a newer type of building selling a shop, like you see here, like a sandwich shop, or you'll see like a flower shop or a pharmacy or something like that. So I thought that was actually pretty cool that they integrated like a lot of new buildings with old buildings that's actually there. And I'm happy that they didn't choose to knock down a lot of these older buildings because they're very historical. Notre Dame, man, this being there, I could tell you that this was extremely beautiful. When I was there, they were doing some construction, renovating the actual church. But one thing I'm gonna say that I wasn't impressed with Notre Dame was the fact that it was small. Pictures that you've always seen or things that you always read about as a child, or even movies and things like that. Notre Dame has always seemed to be like this big church, such as like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you have like a lot of you know, videos, kid stuff of that, and it's always portrayed as being like this tall tower, big church, and all that good stuff. But but the funny thing is, when I got there, I'm like where is it at? Like, this is it? This is all that there is? But when I got there, but nonetheless, it still was beautiful. It still is beautiful. I definitely can say that. But I'm sure back in that time, it was big. It probably was big as hell. But now I'm looking at it, it's like, nah, it's kind of small. Kind of like Jefferson House. If you ever been to Philly, if you ever went to Jefferson House, it's the same thing. Like, it was a mansion then, but now if you look at it like that place is pretty small. That's a small mansion. But fortunately, I wasn't able to go into the actual church because I believe it was closed that day, so nothing was going on. So I wasn't able to get a tour or to go in there and snap a couple shots or anything like that. But that's just this is how it worked out for that trip. Man, here's the thing about food. Whew. One thing I could say, presentation was great with the food in Paris. The food was awesome. I thought it tasted really great as well. Of course, I had to get some chicken, and I had some chicken and rice there. And one thing I say is that I'm not a white rice eater. I don't like that. That's just not me. I gotta have something extra with my rice. Gotta have some black beans or some kidney beans or something of that nature. I gotta have something with it. Maybe some green peas or something. But man, just regular white rice. But that was good as hell. Like, I could definitely tell you that white rice was good. It's not my style, but I still, killed it. With the grilled chicken, that was great. And I had this, of course, in the tourist area, so, it's going to be even more expensive being in the tourist area. But I could tell you the presentation on the food was awesome. And one thing I want to add about whenever you're in Paris and you see couple or it's just people, all they do is just sit back, relax, and talk. You don't see no one checking their phones, being on social media, nothing like that. They're just sitting back and just conversating. That's all it is. Just sit back and get to know each other. And that's one thing I liked about Paris. That people didn't need to be on social media. They didn't need to do all that extra stuff. People were fully engaged in their conversations. Everything was actually cool with them. They would sit at the corner restaurant, whatever, and just relax and just be there for hours, just conversating, just socializing. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. That was different than what I'm used to being, seeing here in America, because America, once you get there, people are on the phones and a lot of things is going on. It's people are not sociable. We're sociable on social media, but we're not sociable, talking with people that is actually in front of you, which is kind of sad. But that's a whole nother story to actually, whole nother subject to touch on. But I just thought that this was actually a great atmosphere. Ambiance was awesome. Food presentation was great. What more can I say? And then the ad, this is another picture of me eating up chicken with fries. You got to go to Paris and got to get some French fries. What's the point of going to Paris and not saying that you actually had some French fries? So the French fries was great. With this meal, I thought what was also really nice was that, you not only got salad, you got your chicken, you got your French fries, I got some dinner rolls and some other things. I believe I got some soup as well, which was a regular, full meal that they actually provided me. So, I believe the meal was like, if I could recall, roughly $10 to $15 for myself. And, I thought that was pretty good. It was pretty tasty. It filled me up. It was great. So I had no problems going to any restaurant eating some good food because the food was really good there. While I was riding my bike, going around town, this was another statue or infrastructure that I saw, which I thought was pretty dope. I believe that all of that is real gold, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong, but I just thought that it was actually pretty cool, just to see this stuff while I was riding around, and you see so much historical rich culture here as you run around, how old it is, historical stuff. So I mean, I thought I saw a lot for what I was there for, but there is more that I missed that I definitely got to go back out to go see when I go back to Paris. And I wanted to add the other side of that actual bridge, or the side of the bridge, which is the Pont Alexandre III. So you can see the detail on the bridge that they have that gold, emblem, or that gold extra piece in the middle of the bridge. I just thought that was cool. I just wanted to just share this photo because of the extra detail that they had on the bridge. You could just look at it. That whatever they did, it was for perfection. They added extra to it. It wasn't just a bit of bridge and that was it. Just slap some concrete together and just leave it at that. No, they added a lot of details, a lot of nice, effects to it. Pont du Carrousel. Sorry if I messed it up. The sad thing is my family speaks French, but I don't speak French. I speak more Spanish than anything from my father's side, but my mother's side they speak French and Creole. But fortunately, I cannot say a lot of these French names. But this was nice. This was like the entryway to get to the Louvre, where the pyramid is at. And I just wanted to take a picture of this because I thought that this was actually a nice picture of a nice building prior to you actually getting to the Louvre. This is Palace du Louvre, and this is like basically housing the Louvre. It's like right outside. I wish that I was able to take a video of this. Something told me at the time to take a video, but I didn't. So I was just snapping away. I just thought that I saw a lot of cool things, and I definitely could say that this is nice. Just being there, the memories, is coming back, and just to see like a lot of this old stuff is actually pretty cool. And of course, I just wanted to get a nice picture of the Eiffel Tower from far away, just to show how tall it is and how pretty nice it is. One thing about it, if you ever go there, you can actually eat at the top of the Eiffel Tower. There's an actual restaurant there, so don't forget that. Hey, that is an option that you wanted to do. With me, since I went alone, so it was like I really didn't want to eat there alone. Like with me, I don't have a problem eating alone, but at a nice restaurant like that, it's like, what's the point? And plus I didn't bring any dress clothes to do anything like that, because I know that you got to look presentable when you go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. So for me, I was there like a regular gringo American, whatever you could think of, just in my shorts and t-shirt, just running around the town and just snapping shots and looking at cool things. So I was just a typical American, and I'm sure they were looking at me like, you just an American running around here. But all in all, just want to give my summary of this of Paris. Like I said, this place is very cultured. There is a lot of history here, and you just gotta jump in it and enjoy it. One thing I definitely want to say, this is a great place to come to if you have a significant other. If you do have a significant other, you will enjoy yourself. It is well worth to go and enjoy each other. Actually, here the hotels are nice. You could just enjoy yourself here. You can fall in love with the city and fall in love with each other. There's a lot of pastries, as you can see here with a picture. There's a lot of pastries everywhere, and that was one thing I liked as well. But hey, this is Paris. Hopefully you enjoyed this video that I actually provided. You can subscribe. I have more content coming out. Other cities and countries that I've actually visited, as well as I'm continuing visiting other countries as we speak. So hopefully this video actually helped you out. But of course, hey, hit subscribe, and you'll be able to see all my other materials. Thanks for watching.